It is now up to the Cypriot authorities to come forward with new proposals, with alternatives, and the Eurogroup stands ready to assist Cyprus in its reform efforts on the basis of the agreed adjustment programme. Let me be clear that the Eurogroup was and is of the view that small depositors should be treated differently from large depositors. We must not lose sight of our long-standing objectives of promoting strong, sustainable and inclusive economic growth that creates jobs and preserves the European social model in which I strongly believe. Budget cuts are not the sort that any of us came into politics to introduce, but I believe in this present stage they cannot be avoided and will ultimately be beneficial. The completion of an integrated financial framework is also critical. So while files relating to the banking union are primarily the responsibility of the ECOFIN president, I'm extremely pleased that concrete progress is being made in this area. We must ensure that the euro area enlargement continues in a steady and responsible fashion. On the one hand, the level of convergence of member states wishing to adopt the euro must be carefully assessed. On the other, governance arrangements that guarantee a good functioning of euro area enlargement must be beyond criticism. The euro remains a relevant and attractive proposition central to the European project. In the choice of instruments, we definitely looked also at the non-resident large deposits. As a matter of fact, the Eurogroup felt it very important that it should be a fair burden sharing, and we were of the opinion that the burden put upon the larger deposit should have to be bigger than the small deposits. The Eurogroup thinks it's very important that we should have a fair burden share, and that means a larger contribution from large depositors than, of course, from small deposits. Looking back at the debate that started from Friday night, Saturday morning, of course we should have spent more time, more wording right from the start on the distinction between a one-off wealth tax, a contribution, etc., which is a completely different thing than touching upon the deposit guarantee system. The deposit guarantee system is fully guaranteed throughout the European Union, and all finance ministers have once again underlined that point. Part of the solution has to be that the banks have to be recapitalized, and they have to be downsized, and they have to be built upon a healthy business model. It's inevitable. In the present situation and the current, well, let's say, I wouldn't say instability, but worries about the stability of the Eurozone, we have to simply stand for the integrity of the Eurozone. And therefore, any debate on is it a systemic risk, should we do anything, I think we should immediately step beyond that and say, what are we going to do to deal with it? In the present situation, I think there is definitely a systemic risk, and I think that the unrest of the last couple of days has proven this, unfortunately. If the Russians were to say, well, we could loan more, we could lend more, that wouldn't help on the sustainability of the debt situation. Building up the debts in Cyprus doesn't help them to reach to work towards a new future. As a chairman, you have to find the compromise between the different countries, between the different perspectives and goals that we set out together. And therefore, this decision was not, even if I could have, let's not go into that question, but was not stopped by me, because it was a compromise which brought together the different interests and the different goals that we share.